Hey there, it's Chris with Acton Creative, and this is A Handwoven Experience. And in today's episode, I'm going to talk about balance in weaving. Now, as weavers, we tend to throw around that word balance a lot, and it can mean very different things in different situations. So, especially for my beginners, I want to make sure that you understand what that means in the different kind of contexts, right? So, first of all, let's make sure we're all on the same page. These are your warp yarns that are going to go through the loom under tension, right? And these are the weft yarns that are going to be in your shuttle, because we'll talk about that a lot as we're explaining balanced things. Okay, first up is the phrase balanced weave. Now, in my experience, that refers to plain weave. It means that you can see exactly 50% of the warp and 50% of the weft. So it's about the structure of the fabric. And to do that, you're going to need the same size yarns and the same spacing. So let me show you an example here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Let's look at this guy right here. See this? Notice I have a whole million different kind of colors. Has nothing to do with color. Has everything to do with the size of the yarn and the spacing. So the overall construction of the fabric. That's what you're talking about when you hear someone say it's a balanced weave, right? So these are my warp yarns going this direction. This is my weft going this direction. See my great little kind of grid pattern there? A balanced weave. Just that easy. And just as a little kind of asterisk here, a balanced weave is a description, not a judgment. There's no gold star for always creating balanced weaves. There are many instances when you don't want it to be balanced. So that is just the way that you're describing the fabric. That's all. So, scenario number 2, a balanced twill. Now, you've heard of a twill, right? It's that fabric that has like a distinctive kind of diagonal element to it. We use twills for so many things, and they are great fun. There's lots of options. But when someone talks about a balanced twill, typically that means, like for me, that would mean a 2-2 twill. That would mean that my shafts, I'm always have 2 shafts up and 2 shafts down. So, my warp yarns are always jumping over 2 wefts, and my weft yarns are always jumping over 2 warps. What's fun about a balanced twill is that the front and the back of the fabric look exactly the same, which you know that is not the case with a lot of twill variations. So let's look at an example here just to give us a visual. Let's look at this guy right here. Now, this was me playing with houndstooth check, which is very fun. Houndstooth check is a 2-2 twill, meaning balanced twill. Look here, see, this is the front, we'll say, and this is the back. Looks exactly the same. And if we get in even a little bit closer, see, these are my weft floats going this direction. Each one jumps over 2. But if you also look at the warp floats, see like the lighter ones in there, each of the warp floats, they jump over 2. This is a 2-2 twill, which is a balanced twill. Yeah, you got it? See, I know you're catching on. Number 3, in this situation, we talk about a balanced design. Now, this has nothing to do with the construction of the fabric. It only has to do with the visual components. How does the fabric look? And in this instance, I find that when someone talks about a balanced design, they're really talking about symmetry. Is the design completed and looks the same on both sides of the fabric? Is it balanced? So here's my sample we'll look at to go with here. This is rep weave, by the way. By the way, this is a great example of plain weave that isn't balanced, because we see these are all the warp yarns. You only see the warp yarns and you don't see the weft yarns at all. So this is an unbalanced plain weave, but it is a balanced design. See how we've got the dark kind of features on both sides. We have the light in the middle, from right to left, balanced design. You'll also hear people talk about a balanced draft. So if you're doing a draft that creates cool little diamonds, you want to make sure that it actually finishes the diamond on each end. Just that it's symmetrical, that it's balanced. So those are 3 different scenarios where we use the word balance, but it's all a little bit differently. So let's review really quick. So we can have a balanced weave, which is plain weave, where you can see half warp and half weft, right? Balanced weave. We can also have a balanced twill, which means that your warp yarns are jumping over the same number of yarns that the weft yarns are, and it's the same from front to back. A 2-2 twill is a perfect example of a balanced twill. And lastly, we talk about a balanced design, and that is all kind of the visual components. How does your fabric look? Is it symmetrical from right to left? Is the draft done such that you actually complete the repeat on both edges of your fabric? Now, I'm sure there's some other places where we use the word balance, but those are 3 common spots that I have found where we like to throw that word around. And I just wanted to make sure that you kind of understood the differences between them so that when you're working, you can be like, ah, it's a 2-2 twill. This is a balanced twill. That's good for trivia night. All right, friends, I hope that helped and gave you a little something to think on. So as you go do your tree pose later, you can be like, I can be balanced here and in my weaving. Have a great week. Happy weaving.